Oh shit, that's sick.
Welcome, welcome. Just give it a few minutes, let people roll in.
Is that a GIF of you
Yeah.
nodding, or are you actually nodding?
Oh no, that's a gift.
I have a version of the world that we're gonna check out, but it's the most default version of it. It gets the point across.
Well, we're live right now. Your voice is going out live. We're here. We're in the Discord as well. So if anybody from Webaverse wants to say what's up, we're in the workshop channel. Hey, keep it. So, long story short, if you guys are tuning in, welcome to the stream. This is Boombox Head and Jin, aka Dank VR, and we're gonna take you guys on a little, kind of like a little journey through our workflow of taking GLBs and exporting them out of Unity and bringing them inside Webaverse.
Well, that's the main course, I want to kind of give some background context as to, what exactly we're porting as well, and other things that we do,
Yeah. Oh, we lost Jin. Let me get you in there. Where'd you go? Hold on. I had Jin, but we lost him. He's in the Matrix.
So do you see me now?
Yeah, I got you here. Hold up 1 second.
Oh, you know what? It is maybe my fault.
Oh no, all right. Yeah, send it back through. So what you're looking at is a program called VC Face and VRM Avatars. I made a Boombox Head avatar, and I'm still working on my Vazims. I have them working, but they're a little bit, they're a little bit off. I mean, they have to be named in a particular way for the VRM format, so I have the blend shapes done in a different format. But soon when I talk, my eyes will talk. But Jin's setting up his avatar right now.
Yeah, I'm in.
You good?
Do you see me?
Yeah. Let me set you up here.
So all right, cool. I think this is the first time we have it set up like this, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like a dual stream setup. There you go. You're gonna have a loud lamp. That's cool. So yeah, so we're here, and I'll bring down some of that music. That was the intro stuff. But yeah. So Webaverse has been an awesome tool to get 3D worlds built in, and if you guys don't already know, you can check out all the information about Webaverse through their Twitter, their link trees. You can actually go to the documentation site that they have if you're a developer and you want to know more about things that are going on in Webaverse. You can actually go to docs.webaverse.com, and then you can get a nice overview of what's going on over here.
We need to improve those docs. I got a whole thing built for that with Webaverse MMO, the GitHub org. It's kind of like a DAO setup to tackle open source project documentation and templates, because a lot of projects need help with that, and that's something that the community can help out with, as well as QA, bug testing type stuff. But every open source dev, wishes for more participation and trying to create a sustainable ecosystem, and improving the docs and templates along the way. That's like kind of some of the core mission of Web3, fixing the broken value loops of open source software development. How do we make such more sustainable and more also fun? So it's like just the main way moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. It was very helpful. And long story short, you set up a development environment, and you run a local copy of Webaverse on your computer for testing. And that's what this was. I made my first build, and I was able to get the CLI set up. I used WSL and Ubuntu, and basically put that together to launch the program. But we have it running right here. We got it running local copy. We got Boombox Head inside Webaverse, and it's kind of cool because this is a win for me. If you haven't seen this for the first time, this is Webaverse, and we
I'm in
put
that world. I sent you an invite in VR chat as well.
oh, okay. So this is a GLB file, but it's broken down into a few different files. So altogether, it looks like it's one file, but Webaverse handles collisions automatically. And if I jump over to Unity real quick, I can give you an example of what it looks like in Unity.
You could also press tilde, and that'll give you like a physics debugger.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, you'll see like an overlay.
Nice. Yeah. So this is a virtual studio that we've been porting around the internet in different metaverses. We usually shoot videos or content or VTubing, kind of like what you're seeing with our avatars right now. But we try to port this to every single metaverse so that there's a way to make content in these places. Inside Unity, we got just a basic scene. Unity is a tool to create video games. It's an engine, and we use it. It's a popular publishing tool for most people. It's free, so you can get it. And we originally created this world inside Unity for VR chat, and this is like a more optimized version that we made for web. So I took out a few items, but kept all the main production parts. But we're going to show you kind of like its full potential in a minute and how it all makes sense crossing over. But we made an M3 TV studio that we plan to do podcasting and getting some guests on there and bringing people in because we think that virtual production is a really good use case for VR and metaverses and our avatars and everything that we do inside these programs. So the way I got it out of here, well, some challenges I faced when making it was I made it all into one object and exported it, and it turned out that it was like 80 megabytes and it was too large to host that on GitHub because the way that Webaverse works is that it's loading all these files through a scene file. So there's a
It's not too much for Sketchfab. Just throwing it out there.
True.
But you can't like use it in your scene directly, like GitHub Pages. You can.
Right. So GitHub Pages, that's where I hosted all these files. There's a couple of them there, and inside a Webaverse scene file, it loads up GitHub. It loads up basically URLs of apps. So I would look at Webaverse as like an app that loads a bunch of other apps, and it's composable in that nature. So all these files were hosted on GitHub Pages. They're public, and then inside the scene file, I load them up. I could show you that real quick. So inside the scenes file of Webaverse, there's a street scene. Let me just load it up.
Oh, you made that the default place you spawn into.
Yeah. Streets.scene. And as you can see, a typical scene file has these elements inside a JSON format where it loads in the file, it loads in the asset based on position, scale, rotation, but all of them have this start URL. So all my files you're looking at, the structure of the building, the gear, the lighting, the stage, and the camera have all been loaded in via this scene file.
Oh, is that the lighting models, like the metallic rails, or is that point lights that you
Yeah.
exported actual like lighting that
Well, these are
casts the light?
they're these all the little light fixtures. You know,
Oh,
and
got it. It's fixtures.
yeah.
You
So
could do also the light itself.
some lights in there, nice. That would be cool because there is.
Not too many, but yeah.
But yeah, we got so separated all the lights, separated the structure, and then I separated the TV monitor because we're going to be doing some render textures where we're going to put like cameras onto TV monitors. Those are over here. I'll show you what I mean. When we're sitting down here during the show, we want to look up at the monitor and see what the camera sees. So there's a TV monitor, and then
You should accept the invite I just sent you, just so that there's more context about this space.
okay.
Oh well, or invite me to that world. Damn.
Yeah. No, I got an updated one. I got a new updated one. I got you.
Damn.
So we got so yeah. The stage is one big old chunk. Well, and all the equipment. So the all the equipment, we could empty the whole studio if we want to. Just poof, gone, right? We use
Imagine how much work that would be in real life, you know?
just like
Like how much packing and unpacking and rolling around heavy wires and equipment,
yeah, we
and
saved
you just like clicked it off.
out. Yeah, and it's cool because I mean, people are familiar with the stuff. They're familiar with like how to use a green screen and lighting, and so once you start adding real time lighting and cameras, things get really crazy. So that's what we plan to do is make every platform interoperable. Maybe make some open source camera rigs for JavaScript and 3JS, and then port over
Oh,
some of the.
now that you mention it, I bet if you have all the cameras positioned there, then as a game object, you could use GLTF fast to export that into a GLTF potentially, because it got
Nice.
updated with that.
Oh,
So you could have all the cameras already pre-positioned, and then maybe flip between the nodes.
yeah, that's a great idea. Like sticking cameras around and using GLTF and GLB that support camera positions to, guide our production. That's good. And then we have the stage. So the idea is that, you prepare your stage, your cameras, your lights, and everything, and then you come in and shoot the production and whatever platform uh, meets, fits your needs. So on Webaverse, let me get back over here. Webaverse, it's awesome because we have unlimited access to the web and all the default stuff that comes with the web. So we have basically unlimited integration here. And I'm still kind of new, so but give me a couple weeks and I'll have all the bells and whistles hooked up and all kinds of cool stuff. This is just kind of just to show you how we get it out. In Unity, I made
Jump in. Let's see what we're working with first. Jump into VR chat.
okay. Well, okay. We go to a world studio. New instance. Right. So when that's loading, I'll go over. When I was trying to gather all these assets, I,
Should
I,
be fast post.
I put them together in a way where they all have an object that has the same position. Actually, I might have moved them. Oh no, they're right. Just the right one. Anyways, it should be 000. Oh no, I moved it a little bit because 000 was slightly off of the spawn point. But what I'm getting at is I put everything in a master parent object. So every single chunk of all the objects per se, like the cameras, the structure, the lighting, they all had different points of origin. And that wasn't good when I was trying to bring them over because they were all in different places. So what you want to do is like separate all your objects into a master parent node or object so that the origin point on each one is the same. So that way when you load them into Webaverse, you actually don't have to change the position at all. All these positions are at 000, and 000 actually references just the middle of the origin. So I just made a bunch of
I
empty
have a question.
objects. What's up?
In Unity, can you change it between local and world in order to move around those individual nodes?
Yeah, yep. Yes, you can. Yep, you can change it. And that kind of worked. Once they were all like in the same origin spot, I was able to just drop them in and they were already scaled. And the scale seemed to be exactly the same from Unity to Webaverse. I didn't change any unit scale, but by default, it came in as we're looking at right here based on the basic size of my character, and it looks about the right size. Like when I'm inside my main player camera, it looks very.
Let's compare with the VR chat version.
Yeah. So VR chat. Let me send you an invite. Are these all requests? Okay.
Probably, yeah.
Cool. So this is the same place inside VR chat. I guess it is a little bit scaled higher, like maybe like a little point one.
Let's do a bunch of just flipping between them so that we can kind of get a scale
Yeah.
feel for it.
Yeah, maybe it's like the same position.
Hold on.
I haven't added, mind you, I haven't added any lighting in this scene yet, but I will bake and do the lighting. So in here, it's just Unity running on VR chat, and the way that it works is I push F and it gives us a full screen of what we're doing, the Webaverse stream, interoperability, and we have different camera angles. So 1 through 9 changes the camera angles, and this is the goal that we're porting over to Webaverse and web. It's just it's really easy. It's not a lot of code. It just turns on and off cameras, and then the camera that's on feeds uh, a feed to the render texture, which then feeds a screen, which feeds uh, the main screen to OBS. So virtual production consists of creating multicam systems, custom avatars, and then creating camera systems that you can use to make content in these different metaverses. So you can animate cameras and do really crazy things. Camera 1 is actually a handheld camera. So if I go over here and grab this, uh, it's a handheld camera. And if Jin,
Yeah. Yeah. Hello. Hello.
me
It's
turn it.
handheld. It's handheld.
Okay. I had to echo. I
Oh, you
fixed it.
want me to hold it?
Well, yeah, just to show them that the idea is, so this is just a collider, pickupable object, and cameras are
Whoa.
default in 3JS. So inside Webaverse, we have the same camera right here, and the goal is literally just to make this grabbable, put the camera in there, and then feed this camera into a render texture that feeds it over the screen, which would give us the same exact functionality. So it's not too bad. We'll probably work on it tonight or later, but that's our progress so far. I'm porting it over. Um, and then once the render texture is loaded, you could do things like this and get a preview image of what the camera sees. And the same thing while we're sitting over here. So that's the main functionality of this build, and we used it for a few cool projects. But once it's in web, it's going to be even better because then we can get real time data feeds and iframes
Or we can do
stuff.
both. You know, like we
Yeah,
can invite guests in VR chat and web. Um, there's ways to capture the data and potentially stream it between the two. That's more advanced.
yeah, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, Webverse being web native is cool because yeah, we dynamic data and interaction, clickable objects, smart objects, and really integrated things can exist in here. So that's
Yeah,
really exciting, man. I'm
maybe you
excited.
could like show this avatar real quick. I mean, got like maybe a sign above my head in VR chat.
Oh yeah, let's see. Oh, record your stream. Oh yeah, is that the motion capture avatar?
Yeah,
How does that
I could
work?
send a screenshot, um, and then I could send you a URL on Discord, and then you could just bring it up on uh,
Okay,
the stream.
all right.
Share motion, and then bring up this URL as well, and then we could quickly explain the concept.
Okay, hold on one sec. This is gonna break your image. Just give me a sec. You sent it to me.
Oh no.
It's okay.
Okay, so it's one of the defaults, but the middle of the screen is a VRM, and you could upload another VRM if you wanted to. Um,
Right,
but the animation data is the changing colors on the left side of that. So
right.
you can basically record or stream, and you're using video as the transport method.
Cool. So you're saying so we can get an avatar in VR chat or
And this
somewhere.
retargets avatars. You can change the avatar with the motion.
Right. So the overall goal is to bring in animated avatars into Webaverse or into web. That
Live data, I would say.
Oh, nice. So you can do
Just
it
more
live.
abstract, you know, live data, like dynamic data, as you put it earlier.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because I think the goal is interoperability. You know, it's not like, um, Webaverse should do everything VRChat does and, kill our competition. No, like I'm thinking it's more about building bridges and roads between these different programs and interoperability through open standards and file formats that could unlock the strengths of each platform that you bring it into. And the web is great for reach. It's great for accessibility. It's great for viralness, and a lot of other things that are coming down the pipe. That ownership and control. You can load all the things you want. You have full ownership over the content. You can publish it on anything. VRChat has some great benefits too, and all the apps that are doing something interesting and have communities around them.
Well, cool. I mean, I know we can do animations in Webaverse, so I was thinking about Thanosing this little sphere real quick and see if I could just export it. Long story short, animations usually consist of position, scale, rotation animations, or point level animations, which is the vertex animations on every little object. So if you're using Cinema 4D, which is what I'm using, you can make a pretty cool effect by setting up an object, whatever you want, a Thanos, putting a Voronoi fracture on it, which will fracture it up into little chunks, and then creating this thing called a plane effector, which will move things around based on their position, scale, and rotation. That with a fall off field of this linear field, if you animate that fall off, which is this object, through it, you can create an animation where it looks like something is actually disappearing, but it's not. They're just getting really tiny. They're just like getting really small. So we use this a couple times for a few animations, but if we go in here and we put a MoGraph tag and bake it down to the cache, it'll bake. It's about a megabyte of animation. And what we do then is export to Alembic. Make this 90 frames. Make sure everything is good. The defaults are usually good. Projects Thanos. Excuse me. And then reason why we put it to Alembic is because it bakes down all the animation per frame on every single frame, and it's just a quicker way to get it into a format that works. I've tried a lot of different ways to output it, but this workflow of just kind of exporting it to Alembic, bringing it back in, it'll give you the animation without any effectors or any kind of parametric operators. In this case, it's baked all into the keyframes now in this Alembic file. So from here, I can export it as a GLTF and send that over here, Thanos GLB. Desktop. And then we should have a cube that goes. Oh, we didn't animate it further all the way down, but that's okay. But you get the idea. If that linear fall off went all the way down, it would have been invisible. And you can trigger these on and off. So you might have something in a video game or a Webaverse world that's just sitting there like a door, and then when you click it, it opens up. Or maybe when you open up a chest, it like breaks into a million pieces. You can imagine animating and adding stuff. But that GLB can go right into Webaverse. So I can just go over here to Webaverse, and I can just drop this right in here. And then you can do a lot of different things, but you see it automatically animates in Webaverse as well, and we can drop into the world. It's actually massive. Oh my god. So the unit scale is a thing. Unit scale is how big it is. So when I exported it from Cinema 4D, it was massive. But I could just refresh. And to save and make it persistent, we would add it to the scene file that we've been working in. So there's a scene file.
What was it? Control S.
Yeah, you can save the scene out in the current version, or you can add it right into the scene file. And actually, there's editors and things being made for Webaverse that are going to be awesome. Like you'll be able to work in your regular publishing tool, like Unity or Blender, and we'll come up with some exporting scripts so that you can export and get all this data pretty much done for you. But right now, we've been putting together different apps and developing, experimenting with different kinds of things. There's render settings, there's spawn point, there's lights, different apps like wind, and all kinds of things. I encourage
I
you to
really
take
think that we could probably align with like the Hub's Blender exporter or any of those flavor of Blender exporters or
yeah,
Unity ones, and basically turn those into scene editors that export that JSON that you're seeing.
definitely. For sure. Definitely doable. And I'm sure that's in the work. Moon said he had some stuff that actually does export out of Unity. They're just polishing it up. And then,
Yeah, there's like three projects I could think of: the Blender one, the Unity one, and Hyperfy. Even there's like a experimental export there.
nice. Yeah, so we're all going to be connected soon. You can jump between them all. And Webaverse is one of the better ones because you can have version control over your own metaverse. Like, all my worlds got destroyed in other metaverses because, the systems would update. But in this case, if you fork the whole Webaverse from Webaverse GitHub, you can dig down and drill in and take a look at how everything works. Inside this app folder is where everything lives for now. There's probably going to be updates on that, but definitely tune in to the Webaverse GitHub and follow the installs so you can get a local copy running. It's not
Yeah,
too
I would
bad.
just say
Takes about
like things do change on any platform. Like for example, there's a syntax update for AI, and which broke my NPCs in a world. So this isn't like due to, I think, architecture. It's just software is like mowing a lawn. It's never finished.
yeah. And it's been incredible. I mean, it runs great. I've been getting 60 frames a second. That world I uploaded the assets were about 80 megabytes, but with some compression we got them down to about 20 megabytes using Draco compression on a site called GLTF report. So on this website, we were able to drag and drop a GLB right into here, and it was really cool. Let me find one real quick. Just a GLB. This one's 6 megabytes, this egg. It might already been compressed, but here's an egg. But down here, there's a thing called compression, and you can hit Draco, and it'll compress your GLB, and then down here inside the code section, there's actually a texture resizer that's going to resize the textures. So it actually resizes your textures and compresses the mesh.
Yo, real quick,
And it's
I'm
really
gonna
good.
grab some tendies. I'll BRB.
Okay. And yeah, that's a good way to compress your GLBs because you're going to be making GLBs, and let's see how big it made it. Just to see. I think I already compressed that one, but we'll see. Egg version 1. Oh no, it's right there. Look, egg GLB. It was about 7 megabytes. Through that Draco compression, it brought it down to like 1 kilobyte almost. So it is a significant amount of compression. We brought like 80 megabytes down to 20. So optimizing these GLBs is one of the major things to get them running good on Webaverse, phones, anything like that. But to actually make a world, it's not too bad. You want to install Node 17. That's the particular version of Node you can get it going right now with. And if you're familiar with command line, you want to get Windows subsystem for Linux running, and it's not too bad. You just install Linux on your machine, and then you can run these packages. npm is Node Package Manager, so you could manage this stuff, and there's Node Version Manager, which help you manage the versions of Node. And Node is it's JavaScript runtime built on Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. But Node is running all the stuff in the background, bringing the packages, and running everything along with the 3JS modules. So it's a very powerful, extendable system, and I'm impressed, through the whole process. It's really cool. GLTF report has also some cool things to, do other things with GLBs, but it hooks you up right into this GLTF transform, and you can code in even more stuff right here. So that's cool. Got to make sure you hit up that Webaverse Twitter. You know what I mean? Show us some love. Jump in there. We got the Discord. So there's always active stuff going on, community projects. And, you know, there's actually a really cool project called Character Creator you want to check out happening right now. And the Webaverse is really interested in AI, and their NPCs are like AI enabled. So I've been watching firsthand the development of the AI tools that are going to get these NPCs talking to us, to people on web front ends, and it's been incredible to witness that. So that's cool.
I'm
Um,
back.
hey, welcome back.
Hey,
Yeah,
what's up?
chilling. I was just telling them a little bit about how the AI development is going with the NPCs, and you've been leaking a little bit on Twitter about that. You know, how do you feel about the AIs being integrated into Webaverse?
It brings anything to life, you know? It's kind of like, makes me feel like my browser window is like a uh, deep fry machine that makes my VRMs more dank.
Definitely. Well, I can't wait to have AI textures and AI interaction, and I'm going to be programming my world with all these kind of tools, and especially with virtual production, we're probably going to have AI camera people, zooming. We're going to go all out with like trying to take advantage of the AIs to make our lives easier when it comes to pre-production, because we usually sit down and storyboard or come up with ideas and things like that. And we've been able to use, Chat GPT and Stable Diffusion and all these other AI tools to speed up that early process to get us to the point where we can actually shoot our content.
Yeah, man, I would love to show off and do a whole episode on that. Like, you could do a combination of, human curating things and for like storyboarding and concept art. Really helps to kind of see like pictures of Snaps or Pixar Studios writers' rooms because you see like they have all these panels with art on the wall.
Yeah.
Imagine how much printer paper they're using and ink. And don't don't forget, like they're like in one of the most expensive places in the world to set up HQ. Meanwhile, our HQ is virtual, and there's infinite canvas software that you could just generate art and like mood board with an AI concept artist, and that'll really help also with like writers rooms, like where you could have a small team and then an AI helping you take notes and generate um, preview concepts or new ideas, bouncing them right on the spot.
Definitely. And it's cool because, you know, like you can instantly have swords and everything works. Like this avatar I made, I could drop in here and now I have a sword and it works. I'm sure you guys seen a lot of previews on what's going on, but I'm gonna make some custom weapons and stuff like that. I'm gonna have the boombox head like shooting out sound waves, and we're gonna have to like throw down. You're gonna have to design some crazy weapons for your dude, man. So we can like battle deathmatch in here pretty soon. I look forward to that. We have a lot of different crazy things. So that's overall like the workflow. But back to Unity real quick. You want to optimize your stuff. Make sure your textures are 1024 by 1024, and baking you can do in a 3D program. We were testing some of the baking pipeline and it wasn't exactly perfect. So we're not going to go over the baking stuff in detail. But long story short, you want to bake your textures into one diffuse channel with the lighting, so that when you bring in your GLBs, you can bring them in. In the case of Unity, Unity makes a light map with the render settings, and it gets saved. And there are exporters that'll bring Unity and light mapping and everything to the web, but we're testing them. They're Needle Tools and a few other ones, but we're still testing those tools. For now, you can actually bake it in Blender or your 3D program and optimize it in there really well with a texture atlas and a UV map, and then from there you'll be set exporting GLB. But people author in Unity and Unreal, they might use something else, but the overall goal is to consolidate your objects into the best, the least cost of your objects.
Preach.
Yeah, optimization is like a lifestyle. You start off throwing everything into a scene, realize the
It's
next
my
thing you
favorite song.
next thing you got like a I don't know, 500 megabyte, room, and it's crazy. Try to work on it. Another tool for Unity is you can use Mesh Baker. I actually bake these objects down into solid objects by using a plugin called Mesh Baker. That'll take
Does it
much.
atlas as well, or is it just joining
Does both.
the
Yep.
it atlases?
Mesh Baker does atlases, joining things, any geometry that's the same. It'll like make prefabs and instances and stuff like that. It does a really good job at
I think that's
putting it all
hmm.
together.
I
That
try to use it on a huge world, right? The voxels district,
yeah,
and some of those districts that I try to mesh bake have maybe 40 to 50 textures.
yeah.
And I'm guessing if you have a lot of textures, is there a setting for Mesh Baker that you have to set to let it know like a maximum size or
It's really smart actually. It deals with textures, multiple materials. If they're accidentally overlapped, it'll fix that. It'll make atlases for the ones that don't have it, and it's actually never not worked. Every time I used it, it did work. But let's say we have like 10 cubes, right? And I want to mesh bake these. Let's see, I think I have mesh baker in here.
yeah, but the textures, can you try making them all like uh 1024 or something to see if it exports multiple or like one?
So like multiple textures on them.
Because one ginormous texture is going to bog down your performance like an 8K or something or higher. Like if it creates that, that would be not ideal.
Okay. So you're saying just like give these different textures.
High resolution ones, if you have them.
I don't know if I'm ready for that exactly, but
Oh,
let's.
okay.
I need a light because I can't see anything. Let me just get like a light here. Okay, so say we got a bunch of these textures. Let's see what happens. And we're gonna mesh. Say these are a bunch of really complex objects or a bunch of things, and you're like, "Damn, I got so many objects. Need to put them all together. What do I do?" Well, you make you get Mesh Baker for Unity at least. If in your 3D program you could just connect the objects, make the atlas, but this Mesh Baker does a lot of cool things. So if we take all the objects we want to mesh bake, and we drop them into the objects to be combined, it'll create an array
Yeah.
of those objects.
What is the
Include the
any
normal.
settings that you can tweak about that?
Honestly, everything has been pretty good default, but it includes the normals, the tangents, the UV1 map, and everything. It does actually have some light mapping UV settings. I haven't messed with those, but let's just hit
Just
bake because
default. Try. Yeah.
yeah, default bake is good. It'll bake it, and now combine mesh. Now it created this object over here on the left. So if we now like turn off all these objects or just delete them, you'll see we have one mesh now that has all the materials. So it didn't atlas it. There might be some settings to make an atlas, but it did look. It made all the different materials onto one object. So it gave you one draw call for the mesh, but you still have all the draw calls for the materials. But I do believe we can undo that and try to go back, see if we can try this again and find out atlas. Let me just reset the thing. The from here. Once again, we just drag all the objects you want to here, but I think there is some options to atlas. If we could find it. Shared settings.
Did it make a new texture?
No, it just used all the materials.
Oh,
Maybe. Maybe it did. Merge, blend shapes, advanced settings. Assigned to. There might be a different kind of mesh baker. I just use the mesh baker regular. Let me see
yeah.
if
I
there's
mean,
a.
it's a mesh baker, not a texture baker. So that would make
But there
sense.
is. Let me just look for another. There's more
Look at the
than
mesh.
one
Oh,
script. So there's like mesh baker grouper, and the mesh baker grouper. I think we have to look into the docs somewhere. I think with the grouper, you can like you can do what you're trying to do. It would like group it and then do something. That's a more advanced task, but you can do atlasing. I remember reading the docs about it. You just have to set up that grouper and then it'll like group them, and it's weird names, but at least you got one draw call from the 7, right? So instead of a bunch of objects, you got one, and that's kind of how I baked some of those and exported them out as single objects from Unity. Could have did it in a 3D program, but yeah, definitely check out MeshBaker. It's useful for Unity people. And let's see, is there any other optimization tools you got on mind that we have here at our hand?
Optimization, eh? Uh,
Getting it over to Webaverse, because that's pretty much all I did to get it here.
Previewing it in GLTF Viewer or GLTF Fast. You went over GLTF.report,
Yeah,
um,
GLTF
and
viewer.
that does Draco, which is good. What about GLTF Fast?
Does that have a website? Oh, that's the GLTF Fast
Unity one.
is a Unity download. Let's take a look. GLTF.
Because there are plugins. If you look at installation, if you go to GLTF Fast GitHub
Yeah,
now, and then if you scroll down to install,
right.
you'll see installing. The optional packages include Draco and KTX basis texture compression, which saves a lot of GPU memory. Um, and you could use that to import and export with that extension. And this
Nice.
also includes the ability to export lights and cameras now in 5.0 update, which came out less than a week ago.
Nice. Yeah, this is a great one. I've used it a couple times. It's really good. GLTF Fast. Really good conversion
The
tool.
only issue with it though is, and this is like already mentioned in the issues, is you can't really modify the textures that easily when you import GLTF into it. Like,
Yeah.
the Blender, or sorry, the FBX material importer gives you options to modify the textures and shaders. I
Yeah.
don't really get that with this all that much.
True. I guess because it comes in like it's in compact, compressed format. So I guess.
No, it's just a bug with the UX, and
Gotcha.
they haven't got around to it yet.
Cool. Well, get your stuff ready and finish it, bake it before you bring it in, basically. For now. But it can do runtime and import and export. And this is what I used for Boom Tools, actually. Runtime export. Worked
Hmm.
great. Cool. So
This
inside,
might be what makes it into the official uh, main engine at some point.
yeah. Well, that was pretty much a breakdown, man. I mean, I'm trying to think any other stuff I had planned. We got animations, a couple things. The baking was, I failed trying to prepare the test, and I'm gonna have to work on baking. Has always been difficult. How about you? Do you like baking?
I am going to be trying needle tools more because they're making that process simpler,
Yeah,
from light map baking in Unity or Blender to GLTF. Uh, they seem
definitely.
to be doing a lot of work on that. Like if you look at the Mozilla Hubs tutorial, it's like a very long website, and it's just pain. And that's like the state of light map baking,
Yeah.
even into 2022. So
Yep. So I suggest bake your light maps inside your 3D program where you can. I didn't bake
are
this
those
light.
baked?
No, this isn't. This is just to show you. This is where I made it. Uh, this is just kind of
You
like the
could though, right?
wireframe. Yeah, but if this was you use Blender or C4D and you would set up your lights in here and bake it. And in our case, we baked it inside Unity, and we were trying to export the lights, and we ran into a few issues with just development stuff, technical things on my computer. But you could it does generate a light map, and you can get it out of Unity and get it where you have to go. But we'll probably give you a whole breakdown on light mapping for a whole episode because it could, there's so many techniques of how you do it, why you would do certain types of lights, different types of color channels that you're dealing with, reflections, reflection probes, light probes. So lighting is probably going to be set up for a whole episode because it's crucial though. Lighting is everything. Lighting really makes the difference between everything. But what we plan on doing for Webaverse right now is just bringing in a couple of real-time lights, even just one, uh, for now, and then get our cameras going. So in a week or two, we'll be coming back at you with live from Webaverse. That's gonna be cool. So it's coming up to about the hour. We got about 10 minutes left. What are you thinking, June?
Um,
Anything you want to talk about, or anything on your mind about the future of Webaverse and interoperability and things like that?
I really want to get mm, more animation testing between these platforms because that's going to be a game changer. There's been a lot of just really inspiring stuff from the VR chat community in terms of like filmmaking. You know, we just went to that VRCon Film Fest and
Yeah.
saw like 30 um, selected pieces out of like hundreds that were submitted of people making music videos and short movies and trailers and just like silly videos, but with full body tracking in VR chat. And that I think is the beginning. You know, we've been doing this for a long time, but we're still at the beginning of uh, this kind of like revolution in remote filmmaking, virtual production. If you look at the ICVFX community's website, you know, like where Hollywood people,
Yeah.
um,
I think it's pretty cool that you can actually destroy the objects. I'm just gonna destroy the studio real quick. Alright, we're good. I had a beef with the with the studio, but I agree with you, man. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. Overall, look at all the tools we have. It's just up to your imagination, man, to bring it together. Recording in one virtual world and bringing the data to another virtual world is powerful, and using all this stuff since it's free and off the shelf software
or
is
just
great.
like being able to not only record the video, but have this other data to go along with the video. Like what I want to ideally do is when we go in to record something that we don't just come out with b-roll like video, we also come out with b-roll animation and audio separately.
Damn, my bad if that was loud in anybody's ears. I was like smashing things with the sword. It was like,
It
sorry.
wasn't too bad.
Well, this was awesome, man. I'm happy to have my first world built in, and I'm going to get it pushed to a live server soon and probably go over that process and learn how to do that. And that's going to be cool because this is a learning experience for me. I'm not a advanced programmer. I've made a bunch of websites earlier in my time, and I've been able to use ChatGPT to help me out with a few JavaScript scripts and things like so. Not for this build, but for other things. Like this was actually all I had to do was go to the GitHub, look at some of the examples, and copy and paste some of the elements of the scenes together and bring my GLBs in. It's really simple to do, and soon it'll be more simple. It'll be like drag and drop simple, or it'll be load in, export from Unity simple, or whatever we want. Since it's web and it's open source, we could literally create any tool, and there's gonna be tons made. That's dope. I can't wait till we get some cool games made in here and do all kinds of things. My brain's just thinking about all different things. But we'll start off with getting some of our avatars in here, which are VRM, and we'll do some interviews with other creators. Cool. So I guess that kind of wraps it up for today's show. I mean, I think it was awesome.
One question from the Vila: do you
Hey,
know how to code? I would say you don't need to, but you should. I would say just HTML and JavaScript would be great. Maybe some Python and Bash if you're wanting to like automate stuff, especially with AI.
Yeah, I would agree with those. I'm actually gonna try to take some JavaScript classes, and the whole AI thing is really coming fast. So if you are gonna get into coding, he's right. Python, learning up to set environments is gonna
I think AI is
really
just like
work.
going to accelerate learning. So it's kind of like just learning how to talk to AI better, like what to ask for, if you notice some bugs, how to make that better, refactor it, all that kind of. So you know what kind of it's like learning incantations basically.
Definitely, I would have had a few NPCs loaded up, but it was the stream came kind of fast. But next time we stream, we'll have like AIs talking to us, and it's gonna be pretty cool. That's probably
So
like
we should do that in the future. We should interview AI.
100%. The next time we stream, we're gonna have AI agents with us for sure.
Sounds dank. Down.
Well, cool, man. Well, thank you, Jen, for taking the time to come. Show these people some insight into virtual production and Webaverse app and all this cool stuff. And thank you, Webaverse, fam, for hosting us and letting us do our thing. We'll be bringing you guys crazy content. Make sure you get over to the M3 Discord or the M3 Twitch channel because we're always posting other projects, open source stuff, and there's some grants and opportunities for builders to get involved and just build. So you know what it is. I appreciate you guys for coming in, man. This is Boombox Head signing off, man. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Later.